Travis Wayne Goodsell. The response from the court came today. And so, yeah, just as I suspected, she claimed I wasn't factual and therefore was incoherent, which is interesting because an abusive commenter after this occurred immediately talked about this before I knew about it. Isn't that interesting that he knew? It's almost as if it were one of the lawyers who were sending me the comment on my YouTube channel. And she said that I didn't have a claim upon which relief can be granted because, according to Rule 8, I was not following that. Thus, the pro se litigant guide, of which I was following, is the improper process and procedure. She never allowed, as nobody has ever allowed, as the church immediately puts it forward, to deny me to present evidence. Everything I listed was factual. They all happened. That's what fact is. They're not me speculating. They're fact. Nelson holding a general conference of the church in which he announces to the church that he's working with Russia. That's what it means when he announces a temple. Whether it's Brazil, Canada, the various states in the United States, they all have to go through the government for licenses and whatever is required for the building of a temple. And so that's now not considered a fact, that didn't happen. But again, I wasn't allowed to present the evidence to support the facts. Such as, if I have to show that Nelson actually held a conference back in April of 2018, then I would provide a video documentation of Nelson giving his final conference talk for that session, for that conference where he announces the temples. It's a known part of Mormonism. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are white supremacists. How are they white supremacists? They're racist, sexist, bigoted, hate the poor, use violence and threats to get what they want. They're a criminal organization. Tithing is a protection racket. The missions are a pyramid scheme scam. They're working with Russia, which means they're enemies of the nation. They're terrorists. The inverted pentagram from the Illuminati. And as such, they are aiding and abetting and causing the overthrow of America. But none of that is allowed. The church does not want that evidence. So, yeah, I will be filing the objection, Rule 46. Not that she's going to change her mind, but I also notified the FBI in a tip line and made sure to include Utah's FBI division, because they're not doing anything after all the tips I've given them over the years. They're complicit and protecting the church as well. So, if nothing happens, we will then know how high up this goes. That it's still, the FBI is still corrupted. Director of the FBI, Christopher Wray. Of course, it could be somebody lower in position that will purposely divert so that Christopher Wray never finds out about it, so thus never gives an order to investigate, which that would only happen if a Mormon were high up in the national FBI. But it was a terrorist tip, informing them that I had prior knowledge of the insurrection on January 6th. I forgot to put in the coronavirus, but when they reach out to me, as I'm hoping they will, I can inform them, yeah, I knew about coronavirus before it occurred. And I knew the dates. I told them where I got the dates from. Book of Mormon. Who would have thought? See, the intelligence communities, agencies, they all know about coding and how coding is necessary so that your enemy doesn't find out your communications when you're separated from groups. When you're using a cell phone, the enemy tries to intercept the transmission, etc. And so it's necessary to protect your communications. It used to be through coding. And so I'm doing what I can to save America. But I'm just one guy and I'm getting my butt kicked. Because they've been playing this game for 200 years. Planning, getting people in the right positions. And have now struck. And once you strike, you know they're ready. That they're confident that nothing's going to interfere. We are at war. We are under attack. We know who the enemy is. They openly proclaim themselves as the enemy. Even though they try to cover it up by saying they're the true patriots, they're the true Americans. It's just like the church. We know them, even though they call themselves the Church of Jesus Christ. And thus creating a different name for Lucifer. Isn't that interesting? So in the selections from the book of Moses, where Moses confronts Lucifer, he says, I am God, worship me. He doesn't say, I am son Amen, worship me. He says, I am God. Just the general title. But Moses knew. And in that particular case, it was from his darkened countenance in comparison. But could have also figured it out by Lucifer demanding that Moses worship him. That was a clear giveaway. You're not the true God. But if somebody asks you if you're God, you say yes, right? Isn't that what Bill Murray said in Ghostbusters? I can't form a resistance group. I have nobody to follow me. And we are well aware, as even the Proud Boys, even the enemy has infiltrators. Their leader was an informant for the FBI. That's pretty funny. But yeah, how do you do it? How do you do it when you have Mormons who want to have you assassinated and cheer when the church commits crimes, and then ex-Mormons who would rather listen to John DeLynn ask them about ex-Mormons' feelings as we're all dying from coronavirus, which is the planned weapon that they had plotted to use. I also noticed Tina Campbell, Judge Campbell, well, it's the clerks technically. The clerks were required to file the other motions, the documents. There were 3 of them because Judge Campbell gave Order 26, silencing me. And so they did not file them, but they put them on the docket. They were supposed to be filed after Judge Campbell had decided on those 3. That was in her order. And the court says we're going to wait for court orders. Well, she gave the court order as to when they were supposed to be filed, and the clerks aren't going to file it, are they? So that will go in my objection as well. I mean, the process from the Pro Se Litigant Guide is that I follow the guide, the template that they provide. Motion number 1, you list the law or the statute or the rule, and then you state the facts. You don't talk about the evidence, you don't present the evidence, you just state the facts. And then the defense counsel gets a chance to reply, and they say, to count number 1, we have no comment one way or the other. Count number 2, not guilty. Count number 3, guilty but extra whatever, what, that type of thing. But no, the church immediately had their counsel say, no, we don't want this case to proceed any further. They cannot be allowed to present evidence. Because after I then file a reply, after the defense counsel, the judge then sets a date for an evidentiary hearing. And in the evidentiary hearing, I am required, as they have a form for me, to list all of the evidences for the court. And they have forms where if I have to present video evidence, that I notify the court in advance that I have video evidence that will need to be presented, or audio, and that type of stuff, if it's not just documents or pictures. And they're not letting me get to that stage. And the reason why I have to is in the Constitution, specifically the Bill of Rights. The First Amendment says that I am given the inalienable right to petition the government for a redress of grievances. not just filing it and then they dismiss it. That doesn't count. It has to have proceeded to the evidentiary hearing at a minimum before anybody can claim dismissal. Because after I present the evidence, the defense counsel will look at it and go, oh, yeah, no, our client's innocent. They've not had any connection to any of this evidence. Then they would submit their reply and say, yeah, we need a motion for dismissal. There's no claim upon which relief can be granted. Our client's not involved. And so, no, they don't want the evidence out. And so, how far, is there somewhere that in the Constitution? Yes. It's for the defense party, the defendants. They're allowed defense counsel. Now, it's typically understood as criminal, and this is civil, so they think, oh, well, civil, they don't have these same rights. Nonetheless, to be presented with the evidences against them. Right there, the courts are required to allow the evidence to be presented in the court so that the defense counsel can know of their accusations. It's right there in the Constitution. And Judge Tina Campbell, as well as Judge Jenkins, as well as Judge Waddups in the other case, all denied the defendant, as well as the plaintiff, me, from presenting the evidence. Because they know I'm right. Because, having looked up this whole claim upon which relief can be granted, it's never used unless the defense counsel knows the judges. Because it's frivolous. It's in the law, and it's taught in law school, but it's taught in law school as you just don't use it. As long as the person follows the pro se litigant guide, evidence must be presented. And so, yes, that guy who made the comment about having prior information of what was contained in here, as well as other Mormons who cheered and mocked me for losing, you guys don't understand. The church got away with it because they're criminal, because they're evil, because they're terrorists, because they're white supremacists, because they're a criminal mafia mob organization. Because they're, did I say terrorists? Insurrectionists. They're seeking to overthrow America. That's why they're not shutting down the church during a coronavirus. Yes, percentages are going down, hospitalizations are going down, deaths are rising, but they still won't shut down the church because we're not out of the red zone, which is 10%. We haven't been under 10% since the beginning, last year. The red means you close down everything. But conservatives across the land said, hell no. Kill as many as we can. The inverted pentagram is that symbol. Coordinating. All knowing who their brethren is, and all protecting their brethren. But what I don't understand, which I can only assume, is that it's not Trump that they're loyal to. They're just using him as the method to accomplish their goals. Because before Trump, conservatives would talk the talk about, oh yeah, we need to be conservative and we need to be fiscally responsible and we need to be secure and save lives and then help the American people. And then in the background they give money to the rich, not the poor, and make laws that violate human rights. And then deny, no, we're helping people with this bill. There's the YouTube clip when Orrin Hatch was hashing it out with Senator Brown about his tax bill in December of 2017. And Senator Brown, having read through it, said, this only helps the rich. It doesn't help the poor. This was supposed to help the poor. Hatch blew up. Got all offended. I was born poor. I am sick and tired of Democrats. Yeah. And so the bill passed. Republicans were in control. And guess what? Not only did the rich benefit and the poor not, but the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints also benefited and also began LLC companies, of which $32 billion from an unknown source, because the tax bill of Hatch no longer required notifying the IRS of where the money came from. Oh, okay, $32 billion from unknown sources. And you're announcing working with Russia, with an announcement of a temple in Russia. Yeah. And what is the quid pro quo they were asking in return for the $32 billion you're laundering through the stock market? Yeah, now we know. Helping Russia overthrow America, which I knew generally. But nobody wanted to listen. Nobody wanted to believe. See, people are silent now. In the beginning, when the signs were occurring, everybody was all mocking me, saying, yeah, we don't want you in Missouri, Travis. Stay out. I had a number of Missourians complain in their comments about that. And that, yeah, nothing happened, Travis. You're a false prophet. We're going to follow Nelson. Yeah, they're all silent now. Not just the ones who made the complaints, because I banned them, but nobody else has dared to claim that the prophecies and the signs in the heavens have not occurred. Because as I've told you, we still have till 2024 for the full completion of the destruction of America, or Babylon, as was coded. So, knowing that the objection filing won't do anything, I doubt the clerks will even file it. I'm hoping the FBI still has a shred of loyalty to the America and the Constitution. Because we're at war, and we need patriots to stand up against this insurrection. And I don't have a title of liberty. I do have a serpent staff. I saw that at Amazon. Bought it a long time ago. Back in 2017, I believe. Karen didn't much care for it. Has a cobra on it. How far we have strayed. But I'm the only one who's been trying to save your lives. And this is the thanks I get for it. Dear God, do you not understand the suffering that's coming if you haven't already suffered? I don't want that to happen to you. Because if you're following Nelson, the suffering's going to come.